Last thing, Canelo said that he might bypass May for a rematch with you in September. Your thoughts?
That's new news for me.
Yeah. Would you be open to the rematch?
Terence Crawford is coming off a historic victory over Canelo Alvarez, and instead of entertaining rematch rumors, he's shutting them down completely and making it clear that the balance of power has shifted. When reports surfaced about a possible September 2026 rematch, Crawford brushed them off, saying he hadn't heard anything about it, sending a clear message that Canelo no longer controls the conversation. For years, Canelo dictated the biggest fights, dates, and conditions in boxing, but that control disappeared the moment the final bell rang in Las Vegas. Now, as Canelo's team pushes for another chance, Crawford is standing firm, confident in his position, and focused on enjoying the biggest win of his career.
Did you watch the Terence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight?
Yeah, I did.
Whoo, talk about slick. Oh my goodness. Who's ever done that? Who's ever jumped up 2 weight classes like that? It's crazy.
Scary.
He's so clever, and it got to the point where he got so comfortable, he's like pit-patting him, and then like, what? You're watching, like, this is amazing.
Like, that's history, obviously. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to fight at that weight for the first time ever.
Against one of the greatest
greatest of all time, and do what you did. You're beyond an outlier.
Your mind games are quiet but powerful, as Crawford calmly says he's in no hurry and needs to talk things over with his team, putting the sport's former top star on the same level as any other challenger. Without saying it outright, he highlights what many already know but rarely say out loud, that Canelo is no longer calling the shots. The power dynamic has fully shifted, and it's no longer about Canelo choosing the date or the location. If this fight ever moves forward, it will be on Crawford's conditions, and for now, he seems completely comfortable watching the former champion wait on the outside.
So Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Bud Crawford in negotiations to happen 2026, the rematch. And let me tell you something. I'm not bull jiving. See, I don't see this as a Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Bud Crawford rematch. I see this as a showbiz, the adult redemption. I'm going to put all the bags on Terence Bud Crawford to win.
To understand how urgent the situation has become for Canelo's team, all you have to do is look at the calendar, because insider reports, including information shared by ESPN's Salvador Rodriguez, suggest something almost unheard of. Canelo is reportedly willing to pass on his usual Cinco de Mayo fight in May 2026, a date he has owned for more than 10 years and one that has always meant huge money and national pride. Stepping away from that tradition sends a loud and clear message that this is no routine decision, but a sign that Canelo's camp is feeling real pressure and operating in full crisis mode.
News just broke. I want to say it broke maybe yesterday or early this morning. Saul Canelo Alvarez, his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, just said that what was Canelo plans for next year. Now, normally, Canelo fights on Cinco de Mayo, which is a Mexican-American holiday, and he fights on Mexican Independence Day. Canelo just put plans out basically saying that he's not fighting Cinco de Mayo. He wants to rematch Terence Crawford on September, Mexican Independence Day weekend next year, 2026. As a matter of fact, here you go.
Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's longtime trainer and manager, has basically confirmed that their main plan is to focus everything on a September 2026 comeback fight against Terence Crawford. They are not looking for a warm-up fight or trying to stay active at all. Instead, they are shutting everything down to spend an entire year preparing to solve the Crawford problem. This alone shows they fully realize how wide the gap was in the first fight, knowing that a normal 8-week training camp would never be enough. They believe they need a full 12 months to rebuild a fighter who looked slow, frustrated, and out of answers. The twist is that while Canelo's team is making these huge sacrifices, Crawford hasn't even committed to taking the fight.
I'm getting my $20,000 back. I can give a damn if Terence Crawford is the favorite 5-1. I'm going to put down as much money as I possibly can to get out of that $20,000 Bud Crawford debt. And that's the black damn 2 sugars. Yeah, I learned my damn lesson. And look at me. Look at me. I am dead serious. Now listen. Now that we got that out the way, let me give my take, okay? First and foremost, Terence Bud Crawford is a damn dog. And let me tell you what I mean. In negotiating for this rematch, he would be the first one out of the fighters who've beaten Saul Canelo Alvarez to give him a rematch. Floyd Money Mayweather didn't give Canelo Alvarez a rematch. Dimitri Bivol didn't give Canelo Alvarez a rematch. But here Terence Bud Crawford doing what he does. And let me give you a side note. Let me just put a pin in that. Put a pin in that real quick. Do you know what Terence Bud Crawford was trying to do? The type of bags he was trying to collect this year. Terence Bud Crawford accepted the Jake Paul fight. Yeah, the replacement fight for Gervonta Tank Davis. Terence Bud Crawford accepted that damn fight. Now, MVP, Jake Paul, they didn't go with Terence Bud Crawford. They went with AJ, which I'm still scratching my head on that. All right, because that is going to be a brutal knockout. But with that said, Terence Bud Crawford said yes to this, knowing damn well he's going to negotiate with Canelo.
Boxing, a fighter not agreeing doesn't usually mean no. It usually means the money isn't right yet, and in Crawford's case the price is massive. We're not talking about normal title fight paydays anymore. We're talking about numbers so big they sound unreal. Crawford's coach, Bernie Davis, has openly said the demand is a guaranteed $100 million to face Canelo again. It sounds crazy until you look at the reality. Crawford has already done what most fighters never do, moving up, beating elite opponents, and locking in his legacy as the best of his era. At this stage, why would he risk his health and his perfect record for anything less than life-changing money? That $100 million figure puts all the pressure on the promoters and networks, basically daring them to decide how valuable this fight really is. And once again it shows that Crawford understands his worth better than anyone else in boxing.
And I do know right after the fight, so Canelo Alvarez was like, there was nothing I could do with it. But I think what happens is you start to sit back. Let me look at the fights. Let me think about this. The fight was closer than I thought. You know, that's what Canelo's thinking, right? Because technically it was. All right, when you think about the copy boxes, put a pin in that. We all know Terence Crawford whooped that man's ass 11 rounds to 1 in reality, all right? But if you count, punches, landed on copy box, statistically, technically, it was a closer fight, okay? Now, Saul Canelo Alvarez also, last time you saw him, he's, nursing and recovering from an elbow surgery, which he had an elbow injury going into the fight. So, you start thinking about stuff like that. I'm talking about if you Canelo, why would you say, let's go ahead with the rematch. I think I got a shot. All right. Being a competitor for one. All right. And number two, the fight was closer technically than you thought because you were in there. And in there, you felt like you were getting your ass whipped. And number three, you went in there nursing an elbow injury. So it's like, I think I may have a chance if I'm 100% healthy. All right. He feels the same way about Bivol because he had a wrist injury going into the Bivol fight. So it's just, you think about all those things and like, let me give myself a shot. All right. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Crawford's hesitation may also be about motivation, because the first fight simply wasn't the battle fans were hoping for. It was a clear display of control. Videos circulating on Reddit and Twitter highlight how uncomfortable Canelo looked, missing wildly, failing to trap his opponent, and moving noticeably slower than the Nebraska-born Crawford. When a win is that one-sided, there's a real question of what incentive there is to run it back. Even boxing legends are sharing their opinions, with a recently resurfaced clip of Manny Pacquiao showing him speaking plainly to Canelo, saying he appeared too heavy and slow, and warning that cutting weight would be essential if he wants any real chance of keeping up with Crawford in a rematch.
Beat Crawford in a rematch, Canelo? Do you think he can figure it out? That he wants to rematch with Crawford, Canelo?
If he lose weight, he's big, so that's why he's slow.
Needs to lose weight.
When boxing icons like Pacquiao highlight a fighter's physical decline, it only reinforces what Crawford already understands. He's no longer dealing with a serious threat, but with someone who needs to overhaul his body just to remain competitive. And that shift makes a rematch feel less like a must-have sporting contest and more like a payday-driven decision, tying everything back to the $100 million price tag.
Canelo was the undisputed champion, so he had a rematch clause. And as I told you guys in the video I did, Terence Crawford is contractually obligated to the rematch. So Bernie the boxer, he reveals that Terence Crawford is demanding that he gets the lion's share. Now, it was reported the gate did over $45 million, close to $46 million. Gate. It also sold 65,000 people in the arena at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And so with that said, Terence Crawford was dominant in that night. Canelo got 150 million reportedly, and Terence Crawford got 50 to 70 million, right? And so now Terence Crawford wants the roles to be reversed, as he should. Now, keep in mind, Canelo signed a multi-fight deal with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, okay? That's guaranteeing him a specific amount of purse. So Terence Crawford is saying, listen, I came out on top, as he did. I'm the victor, as he was, right? It was very successful, not only just because of...
Adding even more drama to the situation are the small-time politics of the sanctioning bodies, because in the middle of all these massive fight talks, the WBC took away the super middleweight title Crawford had just earned, officially blaming unpaid sanctioning fees for the decision.
To fight a final elimination bout in super welterweight against Madrimov and remain champion in welter, the WBC supported him. He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route, no response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved.
Not long ago, losing a title would have been a major setback that stripped a fighter of power and leverage. But in 2026, it hardly made any noise at all.
You know, got a lot to say about me not paying him $300,000 plus another $100K something for sanction fees, right? Then he gonna tell me I ain't even apologize. Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self. Ain't paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any of the other sanction bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. Fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. What are you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanction bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanction bodies agreed to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize to you? The fuck? You can take the fucking belt. It's a trophy anyway. The fuck am I paying you every time I step foot in?
The title removal actually strengthens Crawford's outsider image because it shows he stands above the clutter of boxing organizations and doesn't need a green belt to draw attention or sell a fight. His name alone carries that weight, and by taking the belt away, the WBC only exposed how little influence they really have, while also making it clear that any possible rematch is no longer about unifying titles or chasing undisputed status, but simply about the two biggest stars in boxing settling. Unfinished business, with Crawford dropping the belt proving he's focused on the business side of the sport rather than its politics, which further separates him from a system that now looks desperate to stay relevant.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Why'd you do that?
They his belts. You know, I want to be the one to, give them back to him.
But you mean actually they're your belts? You took it, you won.
They're my belts, but my belts is gonna come personalized. Like his belts is personalized. Them his. I took his titles.
Gotcha.
The belts is going home with him. The titles is coming home with me. I'm gonna get my new belts. And those belts is going home with him, and I just felt like it was only right that, you know, I'll be the one to present him back.
It's also important to look at how this story came out, because it wasn't a joint announcement but a calculated leak from Canelo's camp sent through friendly reporters to apply pressure by publicly saying they were aiming for September, a clear attempt to back Crawford into a corner through media pressure. But Crawford's calm, "That's news to me," response instantly shut it down, exposing the situation as nothing more than a one-sided wish list and leaving Canelo's team embarrassed for negotiating in public with no agreement, which showed smart media control and flipped the power dynamic, making Canelo look desperate instead of dominant. And now we're left with a compelling standoff that could shape the next year of boxing, with a wounded Canelo coming off surgery and willing to give up his prized Cinco de Mayo slot for redemption, while Crawford sits comfortably as the top man, unfazed by rumors and waiting for a 9-figure payday. Because even if the fight happens, everything has changed. Canelo is no longer the unstoppable force but a challenger with money trying to name a price. And until that price is met, Crawford seems more than content to let the world wait.